Dune 2 perfectly tells the tale of incest, drugs, and fetuses, which is all needed very much so. Dune Part 2 picks up straight after the events of the first one. Paul's family is dead. Jamis is dead. The Harkonnens are scary white people. Right at the start of this movie, we find out that the Emperor was behind everything, this sneaky old bastard. In a way, the Emperor feared Leto Atreides because he was kind-hearted and he was a good person, which doesn't fit into this universe at all. So, he's dead. And also the Emperor and everyone else thinks Paul is dead. So it is mysterious when a powerful figure called the Muad'Dib starts rising up through the ranks of the dunes of Arrakis. And who is this Muad'Dib? It's Paul. Paul. So while the Baron's taking big black bats and goo, Paul's getting pissed. Paul wants revenge. Really bad. And he also wants to keep everyone safe. So he does that, and the only way to do that is by rising to power and fulfilling the prophecy. At the same time, Paul gets to know Chani more, the girl he saw in like his visions, and they fall in love, and this love story is actually really nice. Normally, especially with sci-fi stuff, a love story can really weigh down the story and make you go,
I don't like sand.
but this love story is done really well. You can actually feel the connection between the two characters, and you can feel for them when bad things happen, and you could see why Paul wants to do this to help her, and why Chani wants to help Paul. It only serves to make moments more impactful because we actually care about the characters, and this doesn't just go for Paul and Chani. This is nearly every character in this movie. I actually care about them. It even has the power to make things horrific. In the movie, Jessica, Paul's mother, kind of starts to go insane. From the first movie, we kind of learn to care for Jessica. She wants to protect Paul. But then in this new movie, we kind of start to see her go insane. Mango Loco. She starts talking to her baby and drinks some blue juice.
Fortnite. Here we have our shield juice.
And it's just kind of sad and scary because we see her start talking to her baby and getting worse and worse and becoming more obsessed with the idea of making Paul the Lisan Gib. And this movie isn't scared to go dark at all. The Harkonnens in this are creepy boys, especially the new addition to the Harkonnens, Faith Rotha, who is the nephew to the Baron. The performance here by Austin Butler is really terrifying and convincing. This really does seem like a guy who kisses his uncle and cuts people's necks and, like, I don't know, touches himself. And I mean, his design is sick. I don't know, there's something just about bald people that's really cool.
My name is
There's a whole section in this movie where we cut off from the main story and go to Gaidi Prime, the Harkonnens' main home planet, and I mean, it is just sick. It's just metal. It is just cool, and I genuinely love this part of the movie so much. So much, it was the main factor of why I went to see it a second time. I was like, I need more of this. I can't watch the movie at home. I need to see this again. I need to go to this black and white planet. The whole section was shot with infrared cameras, and I mean, it's just so cool. Everything's a little freaky. The whole deal with the planet is the sun makes everything black and white somehow. I don't know. It's not. This isn't real. This is fiction. There's these guard guys in it for like literally 1 minute, and it's just the coolest design I've ever seen, and I want to like go up to the screen and lick it in the middle of the movie. I mean, I want to do drugs. I want to become a heroin addict because I want to live on this planet. It's so cool. Look at all this shit. I know I would die immediately there, but I know it would be like the funnest 10 seconds of my life, and I just want it very badly and an unhealthy amount, and I start shaking when I leave the cinema, and I want to go back into Dune 2 and I want to see it again. One of the performances I can give the most praise in this movie is Timothée Chalamet as Paul Atreides. He is a powerhouse. I mean, this guy is just not stopping. The performance from him in this movie is so powerful. Like, you become scared of him. When he's screaming, "Silence!" I just want to be quiet too. I'm like, okay, I'm scared of you. Please, leave me alone. But don't stop, because I'm sitting in my chair and I'm really giddy looking at Timothée Chalamet being a badass. And he is a badass. And I think part of the reason he is such a badass in this movie is the cinematographer, Greg Fraser, who was worked on The Batman and so many other films. He's just so good at making a character look cool. The way he frames this character and makes him so much bigger than he actually is, like the actual fear the Harkonnens have of the Muad'Dib, is just so cool. There are some shots in here that are so cool. There is so much in here that is just so cool. The whole intro segment is so amazingly orange, but I can't hand everything to that. I must, of course, acknowledge Denis Villeneuve's work on this movie. Consistently making amazing movies, and I think Dune 2 is the peak of his style. You could perfectly fit in some of the weirdness, the absolute beauty of sci-fi, some horror elements, and just plain action. This is definitely my favorite film from him, and I genuinely love Blade Runner 2049 so much, and this one is just mind-blowing. I mean, I need Dune Messiah now, like this instant. Like, give it to me, please, or I will find you and ask again. And if you say no, that's fair, I'll probably go away. But still, I really want it. An important part of wanting something is patience. So if the next movie takes 10 years, I don't care. I do care. I really want it right now, but you know, I want it to be perfect. And that's something I admire so much about Denis Villeneuve. It is his vision. And yes, some people will call parts strange, and some people will call parts weird, but that's the beauty of it. This is ultimately what he wants, and he is the director who puts in his clear vision and is able to get that from the studios, which is so amazing. Even if Dune Messiah comes out and I personally don't like it, I am going to respect that this was Villeneuve's vision and this is just what he likes. And that's such a cool part about it. You can see that this man loves Dune. I mean, he's been wanting to make this movie since he was 17 years old. It makes sense. And even if I had something wrong with this movie, which I don't, I wouldn't mind too much because I can see Villeneuve is having so much fun making this. I can see the excitement that comes across from the movie itself. It is powerful, you know? And I think in a way it's inspirational because this film is a triumph. And I think in a way there is a bit of retrospective from Villeneuve about the career of a director being put onto this prophecy of having to make certain products and have expectations put onto you. And then in the end, no matter how much you fight them, you do fall into these expectations. You do become the thing people wanted you to be, and you make the work that you're paid for. Because that is what Paul is. Even when he fights against this prophecy, ultimately it becomes true. And while maybe he is saving his family and he is keeping Shani safe, he's not being himself. This is the moment Walter White became Heisenberg. And that team is so present throughout the film. Of when at the beginning we feel so excited to see the rise of this boy, to see him become a warrior, to see him become the spirit of Arrakis. And in the end we realize how harmful that belief is. Because all this prophecy and all this belief and faith in something is ultimately terrifying. The tyranny of Arrakis fell from the hands of the Harkonnens into the Atreides. It's the same difference, just a new leader. Even in space, the two most powerful things are fear and faith. And the lines between the two can easily cross. All of this is what makes Dune 2 so important and so good as a blockbuster. And it's the reason I've already seen the movie twice, and I'm ready to see it again and sell my organs until I see it like a million more times. There's a section in the movie where Paul has to prove himself as a Fremen by riding a worm. And the way this whole segment is filmed, the sound design and the music is so incredible. I'm such a nerd. I was sitting in my seat smiling during this whole part, and I'm not even ashamed to admit it. Ultimately, I think Dune 2 needs to be seen, and if you haven't seen it already, do yourself the favor, take yourself on a date and see this movie. This movie made me want to read, which is insane. I want the book. I want more. Give me more. So to sum it up as a whole, watch Dune 2. What are you doing? Get off your ass. Go over and watch it. But before you go, subscribe to me.